Welcome back to College Football Addiction. We've got Locked On Big 12's Drake Seatoll with us today. Drake, how's it going, my man?
Dude, the Big 12's good. Like this time last season, I was worried that the Big 12 was bad. And this year, they have been so much better on the national stage. I could not be happier with where the conference sits.
Headlined by, not to leave the Utah folks out of it, or Cincinnati. I know that was a disappointing result last week, but headlined by Texas Tech and BYU, who have been very good this year. The only loss between them being, well, two losses, but the one with a backup quarterback, the one with a head-to-head matchup. So somebody had to lose that one. Headlined by Texas Tech and BYU. They can clinch something here very shortly.
Yeah, we could be looking at the last meaningful weekend of Big 12 football. We can go into Thanksgiving. Everybody can eat their turkey, get fat, loosen a belt buckle, and say, okay, we already know who's playing in Arlington. Like there is a genuine, this is the cool part for me. There's a genuine talk amongst Big 12 analysts or players or coaches, or at least in the back of their mind, that come Sunday this week, BYU and Texas Tech are now completely planning for each other, and they know they'll be playing each other in the conference championship. And that's something that didn't hit me until this morning when I thought, oh, shoot, we are on the precipice of these two teams knowing this week, and we have 2 games left for the college football season. Tech has 1 of knowing they're both going to the Edward Jones Big 12 football championship. Ben Criddle tweets out, Texas Tech clinches with a loss by Arizona State and a BYU win over Cincinnati. Bam. Done. Over. Texas Tech is in. Or Tech gets in with losses by Arizona State, BYU, and Utah. BYU will clinch with a win over Cincy and a loss by Arizona State and Houston. And that there is a fine chance that BYU can also get in with a win over Cincinnati and an Arizona State loss and a Utah win. So let's look at that. Utah beating Kansas State. That's going to happen by as many points humanly possible. The over-under is 52.5. TJ, I think Utah themselves may hit 52 points in the first half alone. They've got, people always say, oh, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks. Unless you're the Utah Utes. Bird Ficklin is a monster, and their run game has only gotten better. Their line has only gotten better. Utah is an elite college football team, deserves a spot in the playoff. I truly believe that. For BYU playing Cincinnati. This is a Cincinnati team that they're not hapless, but gosh, everything they had on the silver platter when they were 7-1 got erased after the blowout loss to Utah and then a loss at home to Arizona. What do they have left to play for? A really outside shot at the college football playoff. That's going to be tough. Then this is the question mark game. Arizona State at Colorado. If you're Utah, you're rooting for Colorado. If you're Texas Tech, you're rooting for Colorado. If you're BYU, you are rooting for Deion Sanders and the Buffs. This game opened at 8.5 in favor of Arizona State and is now moved to 7.5. The sharps, the bettors, the big money like the Buffs. A night game at Folsom Field. I read an article from The Athletic today. Yeah, I think it was The Athletic that said that Folsom Field is one of the most underrated atmospheres in the Big 12, one of the toughest to play in. And look, Arizona State is not winning games convincingly right now. They lost to Houston a couple of weeks ago. Without Sam Leavitt at quarterback, they struggled against West Virginia at home. At Iowa State, 24-19 was a gutsy win, no doubt. And obviously their defense was great against Texas Tech, and having Sam Leavitt helped them be elite. But I also saw them lose 42-10 on the road to Utah. Like I saw them lose a night game pretty brutally against the Utah Utes. There's certainly a chance Arizona State's in that boat. And TJ, we don't even have to do a show next week. It could just be Texas Tech and BYU when the dust settles on Saturday night. And I think that's probably what Brett Yormark wants right now.
Well, here's the thing. We are still going to do a show. So make sure that you are subscribed to both places and you don't miss
Basketball, hockey,
wrestling. And here's the other thing. I still would really like to see the Big 12 get 2 teams into this thing. Yeah. And hey, I'll get right back to the video, but first I do want to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you are on the Sleeper app. We appreciate all of their support this football season. Use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100. We will play the More or Less game on Wednesday on the Power 2 live here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and don't miss it. Make sure that you've already deposited and you're already good to go. While you're doing holiday shopping for everybody else, make sure you're on the Sleeper app taking care of yourself too. Check their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. We appreciate Sleeper for their support. So we say that they will clinch for that championship game. I don't think they'll take off because both Big 12 teams will want to get there with 1 loss in BYU and Texas Tech so that we hopefully see the committee uphold a standard of not penalizing teams for qualifying for a conference championship game. Yep. If BYU happens to qualify for a conference championship game and then loses a game to a team that is ranked above them, I don't think they should be penalized for that. So all that said, we will do a show next week. But how are your thoughts, feelings, everything you know about SEC bias, ESPN, everything else that goes into this? What are your thoughts on both of these teams making it to the dance?
Yeah, so the best case scenario of the Big 12 is come back. I know I do this once a week, and I'm going to use this one early. My one timeout that I get where I pull you back on screen. That's hear me out. I want your thoughts on.
I can't pick my nose now. That stinks.
No, yeah, I have to stay on screen the whole time too. So you look, now you get to feel it a little bit. If BYU and Texas Tech both clinch, and BYU beats Texas Tech in the college in the Big 12 title to go to the college football playoff, I don't think, and I believe that I'm in the majority here, that Texas Tech gets bumped out of the field of 12. They have enough respect to be at number 5, 6, somewhere in that mix. And so for them to be as high as they are, if BYU is number 11 coming into this and they win 24-21 against Texas Tech in Arlington, I think Tech drops to 8. And then BYU jumps to 7, or Tech sits at 9, BYU's at 8. Maybe we get a rematch in round 1. There's a way that we'll see these teams play 3 times this year, which is pretty cool. There's a way that they both have home games in the college football. Like, think about this. You're now looking at 11-2 Texas Tech, that by and large we consider to be a top 5, top 7 quality team, and 12-1 conference champion BYU. That team deserves a home playoff game in the postseason for sure. Their only loss being on the road to top 5, top 7 Texas Tech, right? I think if you're the conference, your best case scenario is, Oregon slips up, maybe Notre Dame slips up, which they won't, but Oregon slips up, Alabama slips up, sneak in Utah at 10, and then grab Texas Tech and BYU somewhere in that 7 and 8 range if BYU wins the conference title. Does it make sense, though? BYU winning the Big 12 championship, helping the Big 12?
You had a great chance to go 6-7 range just for the young viewers, and you went 7-8 and blew it. Yeah, I think what is more concerning is if BYU loses another non-competitive game. Because I know the committee last year did not penalize SMU for losing to Clemson, and they left them where they were. And my full opinion is that when you qualify for an extra game, you should not be penalized for losing that game while other teams sat at home.
Amen.
That is my
Notre Dame.
Like, I will die on that hill 100 times out of 100. I don't even really care what the score is. I would entertain an argument for, like, if Texas Tech wins by 30, I think we could probably say, like, maybe BYU, if they can't compete with this team twice at a neutral site, like, they lost worse on a neutral site than they did. I would entertain that argument. If you lose a game by 10 or less, 15 or less, I don't like you being penalized for having to play an extra game. If we thought they were a top 10 team, top 11 team, whatever, going into the weekend, them just having to play an extra game, if that does happen, every team that's on the bubble from now until eternity should opt out of their conference championship games. They should just not play it. Rhett Lashley said that last year. Hey, if we're going to get bumped out for playing Clemson, we'll just opt out of this thing. We just won't play it. That way you can't penalize us for it. So I will die on that hill. Again, BYU loses by 30. I think you could say, maybe you should have shown up for the game. But I worry about what the committee will do. I worry about what the committee will do with all these 2-loss SEC teams. These 2-loss, Michigan comes out of nowhere and goes 10-2. USC goes 10-2. What will they do with BYU in that situation? I'll just tell you, I know they did it last year with SMU. I think they got a lot of pushback on that because of the way that SMU played once they got to the playoff. And I know that you can't do the revisionist history. There's always going to be blowouts in the first round. I understand all that. I'm not saying I agree with the committee.
Florida State guy right here. Come on. He's on his soapbox.
The bias will always be there. The committee did the right thing last year with SMU. SMU deserved to go to the playoffs more than Alabama did. I will die on that hill.
I agree.
I don't know they're going to do it again. I don't know that they're going to do it again this year, Drake. I think if you're a BYU fan, you're hoping they do the same thing. I think everyone believes they should do the same thing if they could remove their biases, but I don't know that they will. So I do agree with you. I think BYU needs to win that game.
Yeah, I think so. And then and that's great for the Big 12. And then again, if Utah's sitting at 10 and they need some help from their friends, but I think they've proven they are playoff quality at the very least.